What's up, guys and girls? My name's Nick, and welcome to a Week 7 match between the Norfolk Noctowls, coached by Luke, and the Azelea Town Slowpokes, who are coached by Joel. Now, this is the final week before playoffs, right? And Luke, at this point, has only lost to one opponent, yours truly. And as a result of that, no matter what happens at this point, he's going to get second place in the league, right? So it doesn't matter win or lose, there's nothing on the line for him. That said, he's been an absolute force to be reckoned with, and so you're still going to be worried if you're Joel going into this match. Because Joel, on the other hand, has quite the opposite. So far, he's only got one win to his name, and realistically, if he doesn't win this match, that's it, game over. Even if he does, he still needs the results of another match to go in a certain way for him to be able to make playoffs. So literally everything is on the line for Joel, nothing is on the line for Luke. You look down the teams, they're both really solid teams. You know, you've got that Zorora from Luke. The Ensign is obviously, it's brilliant in any form of competitive play. Blastoise has been a house. And then over from Joel, you've got Tapu Koko, which is just great. Dracovish, we haven't seen too much of it, to be honest with you, but still very, very scary. Darmanitan Galar, if it can get in any hits, pretty much is taking anything down in one. So there's a lot of power from both sides of these teams. Uh, so yeah, without further ado, let's get into it and let's see if Joel can clutch out that last little bit of hope to be able to stay in the playoffs. Right then, so let's have a look. From Joel's side, he's bringing the Dragofish, the Crobat, the Magmar, uh, the Rotom Wash, Hitmonlee, and Aegislash. And then Luke is bringing Sylveon, Flygon, Incineroar, Zorora, Blastoise, and I always get mixed up. I think it's Gallade. Which way around they are? Okay, so pretty much no surprises from either team here. They're both pretty much bringing their A game on both sides. I'm surprised about not seeing the uh, Galar Darmanitan, especially with that Flygon on Luke's side of the field. So it's really going to be a question of which way they're going to go with it. Um, Interesting items on a couple of these from Joel. You see the power herb there on Aegislash and the normal gem on Shoeless Joe. Those are interesting choices. Um, but looking at what he's bringing there, Aegislash to start, that's a bold choice because it's difficult to get into position. But we do see that choice scarf Dracovish in the back. So let's see if that can pick something up for him. Right, so from Luke, we're going to see the lead of Zorora and Sylveon. Two strong choices from his side. Can't really pick weak ones, but there you go. And instantly, I don't like the positioning of this Sylveon. It's not in a good spot whatsoever versus either of these two. The typings just do not go in Luke's favor. Yeah, so you can see the Aegislash toying with the idea of King Shield. Not a bad play, you know, find out what's going on, and if the Zorora does go into it, which is unlikely with a Crobat there, then you're going to get some immediate stat drops off. Looking at the Tailwind, that's smart, although to be honest, that I don't think that Aegislash is outspeeding anything, no matter what's going on. Not against the Zorora anyway. So it may well just be for the Crobat itself. So we'll have to see how Luke's going to answer this. And yeah, if I'm Luke, I'm thinking I need to switch that Sylveon out. Doesn't go for a switch. So we see the Protect from Zorora. Yeah, King Shield from the Aegislash. Maybe we're just seeing a bit of all-round reading. Yeah, Protect from both Mons there from Luke's side of the field. So he wants to see what's going on. And this is just a completely free Tailwind for Joel. So he's got to be happy about that. Also, you now know that there's going to be no Protects. where whichever side you're going into, so you can choose to double into something if you want completely freely. And that's always the danger about protecting from both Pokemon. Yeah, sure, you get a read, but you put yourself in sometimes a little bit of a sticky situation. So now Joel's going down his Aegislash here, looking for the Iron Head, makes perfect sense. I would be too, straight into that Sylveon. And then from the Crobat, honestly, I'd be thinking about doing the same, although I'd have to be concerned about a switch. This looks like a very supportive Crobat with the Hypnosis and Tailwind there. But yeah, doubling in. And this is not going to go well for that Sylveon at all. Close combat, that's going to do absolutely nothing against the Crobat. Really poor choice there, unless there's a purpose for it. Which, yeah, so it's triggering the eject pack. So, okay, sure, a little bit of damage off. Potentially, if there was a focus sash there, then you're breaking that, and you still get to do the switch. And here we see the Intimidate from Incineroar. So, okay, yeah, does make sense, but obviously nothing against the Crobat. Now, the stance change does put it, obviously, in a little bit of a vulnerable position, but it's worth it for the stat changes, honestly. Aegislash is really good if you can work out the typings, and down goes Sylveon. Not typing, sorry, the stances. Yeah, so Luke's very, very on the back foot already. You've got a Tailwind up from Joel. You've got one Mon down. The eject pack is already popped from the Zorora, so you're using items for almost nothing. And what's going to happen here? Now, I think if I'm Joel, I want to be resetting that King's Shield because it's so good at defending, and it really means that Luke is going to have a hard time getting any damage through onto it. From the Crobat side of things, I don't know as it can do a lot here, unless it wants to be going for Hypnosis, which is hilarious, and I would love to see. I don't know as it's going to be putting out a lot of damage. That Poison Fang is great against Sylveon, but other than that, Crobat just doesn't really have the power to be able to do a whole lot of anything. So, Protect, sure, makes sense. Try and burn some turns. And yeah, we see that King's Shield, putting it back into the defensive mode. Or shield form, if you like. So, Fake Out, gonna do nothing. Yeah, it's a good choice to double protect there to get through the Fake Out. Water Spout doing nothing, and now you know that Water Spout is very scary. You've got to be doing something about it. You can't just let the Blastoise sit there on full health, because that Water Spout will do so much damage. You need to start chipping away at its health to start chipping away at the damage output as well. It's a bit of a double-edged sword there, that move, realistically. So what are we going to see from Joel this time to be able to do that? I mean, if it could get off the Soul Blade, that'd be great. I think we did see the Power Herb on it. So, wow, if that's why he's brought it, that's a fantastic play. And I promise you, Luke will not see this coming. And still Tailwind up, you don't need it. The Poison Fang isn't doing a lot. I think your best bet here is the Hypnosis. Yeah. Which hits! Oh my word, lovely. That is absolutely beautiful. Almost zero accuracy. Well, it's 60%, but we all know it misses more than it hits. And the Tailwind means it does get to go first, which means that the Incin is going to put out some real hurt onto the Aegislash when it hits. But how much is this Solar Blade actually going to do? It is a lot. Now, it's not going to be a two-hit kill. Well, it would be, but the Power Herb is used up now. So, wow. Yeah, I was going to say Joel can't rely on a second one of those, but I think there's another reason why he can't. That Incin taking the Aegislash down. The moment it is out of its shield stance, It just does not take any damage whatsoever. But you do now have a Blastoise damaged and asleep, so Joel has a little bit more freedom in terms of what he wants to bring out. Either the Magmar or the Dragovish could be good here. It's just a case of being able to take down the Blastoise. I'd say before it wakes up, the Magmar is obviously a bit riskier with the type weakness. But Dracovish, yeah, that's going to be doing plenty. It's just a case of what are you locking yourself into? Are you going for that Vicious Rend? Like, it's probably enough from this range. But, yeah, it makes more sense. You may as well just take down that Incin. And even if we would see Luke switch into Zorora, it's not going to take it well. Oh, it is running Protect, though, okay? Forgetting this, it's not something Incin always runs, so definitely paying dividends there. Repopping that Tailwind, making sure the Dracovish is always going to be going first. When you're running Vicious Rend, you've got to do that. Even with the Choice Scarf, you can't be too careful. Joel is now locked into Vicious Rend, so he doesn't have a choice, but honestly, that's fine. Luke's in a bad spot, quite frankly, against the Dracovish. The Dracovish could finally start doing some real output. And this is just something that we don't see in the CCC all that often. For some reason, it's just not a Mon that ever really manages to do what it's good at. It's a great Pokemon, but I think when you know it's coming, it's so easy to prep for. But Joel has finally got into a position where it can do some real damage. Yeah. At this point, sure, just start chipping away. Personally, I think I'd have been going into the Blastoise, even though it's not going to do a lot. Better than nothing. Doesn't matter. With Incin going down, we're going to see it happen anyway. No surprise that the Vicious Rend was able to take it down. Vicious Rend, I should say. Blastoise does wake up. Scold, probably not going to be enough to kill, but that is some serious damage. It probably will take it down with another one, but it's got to have the opportunity to do that. Now, the question is, Zorora is very fast, but is it fast enough to be a Tailwind Choice Scarf Dracovish? Probably not. I think Joel pretty much just has to put his faith into the Vicious Rend, go into Zorora, and cross his fingers that he is fast enough. I imagine it will take it down if it hits, because it has some serious power behind it. Yeah, I don't hate to protect here. To be fair, anything the Crobat is doing is fine. It's just burning turns from Luke that he has to try and take it out. Switching the Dracovish, honestly, I'm not sure I agree with that. I think that's Joel being a little too cautious. Like, he needs to be getting a good win here. He can't just settle for a 1-0 or 2-0. If he wants to be going through to the playoffs, he needs a really good score. Okay, I see why. It's all about the fake out, and I had completely forgotten about it, in all honesty. I don't know if Churchill would have been able to take it down with the fake out from Zorora, but that's now burned, so it's not something that Joel has to worry about regardless now. And, I mean, I don't know. What are you thinking about doing if you're him here? Maybe a Will-O-Wisp into Zorora, turning down that power, because it's normally obviously physical. And then, do you switch out the Crobat? But then that's risky. This is the thing, like, taking the Dracovish out, sure, gets him through the fake out. But now he needs to be able to get it back in, because he needs pretty much at least a 3-0 to be able to make in playoffs. 3 or 4 is what he needs. He's not going to get 4. So he's got to keep every Pokemon alive. So going for that Hypnosis, this is one way to do it. Okay, not going into the Protect. Hypnosis hits for a second time. Hypnosis normally so inaccurate, so this is just fantastic. Will-O-Wisp is going to go off, but obviously straight into that Protect, so it's doing nothing. Tailwind peters out, so now what do you do? Do you go for that Will-O-Wisp again? how long do you hope that the Blastoise stays asleep for? That's the question, right? You know you need to get the Dracovish back in there. Neither one of these is realistically taking down Zorora, but it's difficult. You want the Tailwind up again because Zorora is so fast, even with the Choice Scarf. I don't know as Dracovish can outspeed Zorora. So Follow Me makes sense. He's not going to go for a double Hypnosis, surely. Is that what he's thinking? If he puts both of Luke's Pokemon to sleep, then yeah, sure, he can do what he wants in terms of switching back around. Okay, so going for, I believe it was the Will-O-Wisp that he's clicked on there, which makes sense. It turns down the power and gives you just at least a chance to make a switch. Defense drop is not going to do him any favors when it comes to trying to survive that Vicious Rend, but Luke may well already be aware of that and just be like, I don't care, I can't afford to take anything. So now all the status conditions on Luke's Pokemon here. So if there's ever a time for Joel to go for the switch back to Dracovish, I think he has to do it now. Either Follow Me to get it in instead of the Crobat, or Tailwind from the Crobat and switch into the Dracovish. What we haven't seen is the Plasma Fist from the Zorora yet. And that's pretty much his best move. I would have thought he'd be doing that instead of the close combat. I'm not sure why he chose to do. I mean, the possibility is not running it. We've seen what? Fake Out, Protect, and Close Combat, but still not that Plasma Fists. Another Close Combat with the burn doing almost nothing there. Clear Smog. Not exactly a lot of damage, but it's something. Oh, with the Water Absorb. Not that he had any worry about that doing any significant damage anyway, but why take any when you can just nullify it altogether, right? So, do you go for the Follow Me? I think that's probably the best option, but you've got to be... No, because the Blastoise is going to be doing some serious damage from the Scald. So yeah, this is where he's choosing to kill. Joel is choosing to kill the Blastoise. Makes sense. Even though the Zorora is the bigger threat, he cannot afford to let Magmar go down. We see a close combat. The burn makes it just so that it just can't do the damage it needs to. All of its defenses are now down. And at this point in time, like, Joel just needs to click some attacking moves. Yeah, no, I wouldn't be going Clear Smog because the stat changes are not in Zorora's favor. Vicious Rend, it is enough even without a Tailwind to go first. It doesn't matter what Magmar's clicked. Down goes the Zorora, and that is a win to Joel. Crucially, a 3-0 win, which is what he needs. All right then, so round 2, you can see a tiny little change from Luke there. I say a tiny change, realistically it's quite a big one. We're seeing Zorora coming out and instead Pinkachin coming in. Now, I believe the only reason would be because of the Hypnosis. The Pinkachin sets obviously Electric Terrain and just turns off any of the sleep ability. So if that's what Luke is going for, then Joel really needs to be able to recognize that and choose, okay, I'm not going to be going for sleep strats here. Sure, bring Crobat, it's got Tailwind, it's got the Poison Fang for the Sylveon, but I don't really want to be putting people to sleep. You've got to think outside the box. Looks like he is thinking about doing the same thing again. He hasn't made any changes from his end. He's bringing the Crobat first, which, yeah, that makes sense, but he was looking at that Aegislash. Is he going to go for the Dracovish? Dracovish off the bat could be a bold play. It's just you've got to be aware of potential fake outs from turn 1. That's the only issue. So, no, we're not going to see the turn 1 Dracovish. As entertaining as that could well be. So, let's see, can Luke pull this back? Can he turn it around? And more importantly for Joel, can he cling on to get another 3 or 4-0? Because that's what he needs. He's done it once, he has to do it again, because it's always the, if you like, worst result that counts for you going forward. Not only does he need to win again, but he needs to win again with a good result. So we're seeing that immediate electric terrain, so no sleep strats from that Crobat. And the question is this Gallade packing something to maybe take advantage of that? Maybe like a Thunder Punch or something like that? And what are we going to see? I'm going to guess a Tailwind out of the Crobat. Or, okay, sure. First turn Protect. Are we going to see the first turn King's Shield? Because it's fine, but it just puts you in a potentially a difficult situation going into turn 2. I don't think there's any fake out on the Glade, so you don't really need it. No. He's going for, I believe that was Shadow Sneak into the Glade, which, yeah, that'll do some serious damage. The only thing is, with it being a priority move, you then are out of the shield stance for anything else coming your way, right? And that's potentially risky. This is why you almost want to use slower moves on the Aegislash. But Glade's gone for the Protect anyway, so it doesn't matter. We're switching to the Blade form. We're going to sheathe the Shadow Sneak. It's not going to do anything. If this Pincushion has gone into the Aegislash, it hasn't. Oh, that could have been a real upset for Joel there. No, instead we see it going into the Protect of the Crobat. Nothing turn realistically. And now basically both sides are left without massive, like the obvious Protect plays, if you will. We're going to see the King Shield from the Aegislash. Makes sense, but again, if he's going to go for Shadow Sneak next time, it doesn't make any difference. So I think we're seeing a double into, sorry, not a double, a move from the Crobat into the Gallade. What was it? Poison Fang, I guess? Yeah, surely that's the only thing it can be, right? No, he's going for the Hypnosis. He needs to know that Electric Terrain turns it off. Terrain is one of those things that just so many people don't know. Psycho Cut coming into the Crobat. We see the Focus Sash pop. Rising Voltage going into the protected Aegislash. So Crobat has a turn left. Realistically, if it's me, I think I'm setting up that Tailwind and or going for Protect, right? I'm not going to get any significant damage off. I may as well make the Pokemon do work, and that's either going to burn turns or it's going to get some speed up. So from the Aegislash, realistically the only thing it can do that's going to be significant damage is that Shadow Sneak into the Glade. But if we see another Protect from Glade, then it's just putting itself in harm's way by coming out of the shield stance. So yeah, Protect from the Crobat, makes sense. Protect from the Gallade, there we go. And Aegislash comes out. It's very much a game of back and forth, and unfortunately for Joel, it doesn't look like it's necessarily going in his direction. Sucker Punch, I don't think was a great play there from the Pincushion, because it's unlikely that we were going to see the Poison Fang. At this point, Luke should know the full set of this Crobat. Switching it out, I don't hate, because it's fast enough that it can come back later and set a Tailwind up for that Dracovish. So it's certainly an option. And I mean, Magmar, we know with the Eviolite will tank anything. But no, Going for the Tailwind now. You can't go for another King's Shield. You have to go for a Shadow Sneak if you're going to do it. Otherwise, it's going to be back and forth and get nowhere. And eventually, Luke is going to see the opportunity and capitalize. Joel going for the King's Shield again. It's not getting him anywhere. And this is the problem. At this point, with him going in and out of the forms at the current turn situation, he's banging his head against the brick wall. We see the Tailwind. That's all well and good. Psycho Cut. This will take down the Crobats. And Pinkachin can do pretty much anything he wants. It won't really matter. So difficult decision to an extent, because you've got Aegislash out that can do enough damage, and so the support of the Magmar could be good, but the Dracofish could start tearing Luke's team apart. Now the Tailwind's up, there's no fear about not being fast enough, which there shouldn't ever be that fear when you're holding a Choice Scarf, but you never know, you just need to be going first with a Vicious Rend. So Vicious Rend into the Pinkachin. Great, I like that. And if we see a Shadow Sneak again, is it just going into yet another Protect? So he's sticking with it, but we finally don't see the Protect. Shadow Sneak's going to go off, and how much damage is it going to do? It's not a lot. It's not all of it, but it's a lot. Vicious Rend, that's going to come out. And, oh, not a one-shot, but again, a huge amount of damage. That knockoff, though, that was next level. This is the difficulty with the shield stance. And, wow, Rising Voltage absolutely destroying that Dracofish. I was going to say that Joel's in a bad situation because he's only got the 2 Pokemon left. He almost didn't want to win this match. I do not see him doing that with the Magmar. It's not exactly a massively attacking Pokemon. Realistically, I think if I'm Joel, I'd just like to maybe take one of these down to see what was in the back. Knockoff, there goes the Eviolite. Flame Body, though, that's always nice to see pop. And Hydro Pump. With the Eviolite gone, will this do big damage? Yes, it will. So, Luke proving why he's been such a force this season. 2 Pokemon that can very easily fly under the radar, doing work. And so here we are. It comes down to game 3. And everything is on the line for Joel in this game. He has to get a 3-0 or better, or that's it. He's out of the tournament this season. It's still risky even if he does, because as I think has been said, he still requires the result of other games to go in his favor. So it's difficult, but you've got to play to your outs, right? You've got to. So he really, really needs to give it his all this game. And yeah, looks like he's definitely changing up those strategies. No longer the Crobat and Aegislash lead, which I think was great game 1. Definitely caught Luke by surprise, but game 2, you saw he was just ready for it. So we're seeing Hitmonlee and the Rotom Wash as leads. Interesting leads. I can't imagine that Luke is going to be ready for that. Got to be careful of that Psycho Cut off the Glade, or potentially some fairy moves off the Sylveon for Shoeless Joe, as Joel called him. Seeing the Dracofish again, it does do work, and I don't hate Crobat in the back. The Tailwind later on can be something that can turn a game in your favor. So let's see, can he do it? Can Joel pull this one off, or is Luke going to yet again mop up another opponent? So from Luke, we're seeing the same leads as in Game 2. Makes sense. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But Joel definitely changed things up now. That electric terrain, yeah. I don't think it... I can never remember how terrain works. I don't think it powers up for the Rotom Wash, though, because it's not touching the ground, because it's levitatability. So I think a Fake Out is the obvious play here from the Hitmonlee. Just turn one of these Pokemon off for a turn and let that Rotom Wash just get in some damage. Yeah, we've seen the Rising Voltage do a lot of work there, so I'm kind of inclined to agree with Fake Out onto the Pinkachin. And going for a nasty plot. If that Gallade doesn't go into the Rotom Wash, then yeah, Joel could be in a crazy good position. And we see the Psycho Cut, so yeah, going into the Hitmonlee. The Power Gem, weirdly, was just for the Fake Out, but down goes Hitmonlee. This means that now Joel cannot take a loss. Every one of his Pokemon needs to stay alive at this point, and that's after turn 1. What he does have, however, is a Dracovish, which he's already seen is faster than both of these two Pokemon, and a Nasty Plot Rotom Wash that is set up that I think we've also seen is faster than these two Pokemon. So realistically, yeah, if there's ever a time that Joel is in the driving seat, it's right now. So we see that Vicious Rend going into the Pinkachin. Based on last time, I think with the little bit of damage from the Fake Out, it's going to be enough. And maybe that Power Gem was just enough to put it over the edge. We see a Hydro Pump. A little bit risky with the accuracy. He's going into the Pinkachin, making sure that it goes down. I don't think he needs to. But to be fair, we've seen Protect off Gallade. We haven't seen it off Pinkachin. No Protects. Vicious Rend comes out. Does take down the Pinkachin. And we see the Hydro Pump go off. It connects. And... oh, it's not enough for the Gallade. Close combat. That's a lot of damage, but it's not a kill. It's not a kill. Joel's still in this. Okay, Whiter pops, restoring its defenses. Honestly, I think the amount of damage the Hydro Pump has done isn't going to make too much of a difference. Now, the Insane coming out with the Intimidate drop on the Dracovish, that can be dangerous. Although, Vicious Rend is still that good that I reckon it could still take down the Insane. Not risking it, he's going for the switch into the Crobat. And what is the Rotom Wash going to do? You know it's faster than everything else. I think he needs to take down that Gallade. Because if the Crobat comes out and Gallade's still there, a Psycho Cut into it is going to absolutely wreck it. So how does Luke counter this, though? I can only guess there's a Fake Out coming from the Insane. But what can the Gallade do? I mean, maybe a Protect, maybe a Switch, but it's not fast enough to beat either of these Pokemon, and it's so low on health, it's going to go down. So we see the switch from Dracovish going into the Crobat. Angry Lady is here to hopefully save Joel's day. Fake Out goes into the Crobat, makes sense. Hydro Pump goes off and it misses, and we're going to see a close combat, but with the switch, just not doing the damage that he would have wanted. Obviously, if that would still been the Dracovish, Luke would have got the KO there, Joel would have been out, but no. Good switch there from Joel. And it's dangerous because your Focus Sash is gone, and that Psycho Cut is deadly. You can go for the Poison Fang, it's probably enough. And yeah, is he going to go for another Hydro Pump into the Insane? I mean, it makes sense. It will probably do enough with the nasty plot already popped, right? But the thing is, you want the Gallade dead. Doesn't matter. No protects. Poison Fang goes off. Gallade goes down. It is enough damage. And we're going to see the Hydro Pump. And this is going to be huge. Down goes Sin. Doesn't matter how tanky it is. It can't survive a nasty plot stab Hydro Pump. Wow. So Luke has one Pokemon left. And it's Blastoise, so it's a good one, but that Thunderbolt from the Rotom is probably going to be more than enough to deal with that. So we're going to see the switch into Dracofish. Makes sense. If it goes for the Water Spout, then it should survive that. We're seeing the Thunderbolt being targeted into the Blastoise. Question is, which one's faster? Rotom Wash is faster. Not enough for the kill. Can this kill the Dracofish? No, the Water Absorb. I'd forgotten about it. If anything, we're going to get a heal. And that's going to be it. There's no way the Rotom Wash is going down to this. Wow. No, almost nothing. And we finally see the leftovers. Not that it's needed. That is one bulky Rotom Wash. Yeah, Nasty Plot, a great choice on that. And so now, you can just click Vicious Rend, you can click Thunderbolt, and you can sit back, put your feet up if you're Joel, and know that you have done as much as you possibly can to try and get into the playoffs. There we go. Down goes Blastoise. Luke finally gets a second loss of the season. Well done, Joel. Really well played. Wow. That was absolutely incredible. Yeah, I cannot say how much I enjoyed that match. The back and forth was there. Luke clearly was not exactly taking it lying down. The switch game too to the Pinkachin and Gallade was beautiful, but then Joel's use of the Rotom Wash was just absolutely glorious. We also finally got to see Dracovish do what Dracovish does in that, Choice Scarf, Fisher's Friend just dealing out the damage. Wow, what a game. And it puts Luke, no, not Luke, it puts Joel in a position where if the game involving Kraken goes against Kraken by a big enough margin, there is a chance, a hope that Joel can make it into playoffs. He's just got to keep his fingers crossed now. Look, guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that game as much as I did. It's not long now, maybe only one or two more games before we get to the all-important playoffs. Stay tuned because, trust me, they are going to be some bangers. For now, you all take care. Bye-bye.